And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Kwiatkowski on Declare Your Independence. She's still the one. Still the one. You know, the one that I'm thinking of when it comes down to who took their chest and stuck it up and said, you know, I do not respect your authority. And that's who I want running for Congress. You know, that already has a track record in the Pentagon, no less. The Pentagon. I tell you what it was. You know, the hubris and the arrogance of these people, there is no way they suspect, because they knew this stuff was leaking out. They did not suspect a woman doing it. You know they had some kind of insulation for you.
Yeah. They didn't expect it, and you know that's the hubris and the arrogance of the neocons. And again, it's a lot of the same guys in power, some different faces, but the philosophy's out there. But one of the great weaknesses of that political movement, even though they've caused a few wars, and you know they do have a heavy influence in American foreign policy, but because they are arrogant and because they do discount the power of the truth, they discount the power of individual people. They're a little bit anti-women, I would say, in some ways. They talk about education of Afghans, you know, well, we got to get the women educated, but their actions, of course, are to murder their children. So it's not, you know, they have some inherent weaknesses. I don't fear the neocons. I mean, I relish going after them because in some ways they're not a
Karen,
formidable foe.
I realized this decades ago. You know, when I first started, I understood, you know, how to view these people. Now, I give you this, and you'll understand my point. Mm-hmm. Dealing with people like this is like playing chess with a 3-year-old. Okay, it's easy to beat them. You know, it's easy to slap them around. You have some fun with them, and they don't really understand the game. But sooner or later, they stand up on the chair, they knock all the pieces on the floor, pull out their .45 and pump 3 in your chest. Okay?
Well, actually, yeah, you got a point. You know, you got a point there.
So it's easy to play, but they get to a point to where they're so frustrated that that's how they react. So, and that's, you know, pretty much how they've been reacting. So what I wanted to talk about now is, as being someone that was, you know, watching carefully Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, the Middle East, you know, you were one of, if not the only person I know at such a high level to have this kind of perspective. You had to have some kind of data coming across your desk that suggests the average age of these countries, that there was a demographic wave of youth that was coming that was going to sweep away all the contacts and the infrastructure of diplomatic and banking and financial interest in corporations and nationalized of the blah, blah, blah that we have been dealing with for decades, that when you got enormously more than half of the population under 30 or something, you got to go, that's got to be a game changer.
Yeah. Well, you know, even, I mean, the CIA has for a long time, you know, watched and reported and worried about the demographics of particularly North Africa and the Middle East, and the impact that those demographics would have, the young people, masses of young people, and doing what young people do best, which is question and demand, you know, change, this kind of thing. This is kind of what they do naturally. And this would cause a problem for our hand-picked dictators in all those countries, which, of course, you know, Mubarak and Ben Ali in Tunisia, and the guy in Yemen is our guy. Bahrain, of course, the royal family, we support them. Saudi royal family, we've hand-picked leaders in Iraq and Afghanistan. You know, so, and these are all old men. There's no young people there. So the leadership anyway. And yeah, it's something that they worry about. And I think, you know, I think it for me, from my perspective, it is something that you can say, well, there's cause for hope. Change will happen. And the question is, will it be, how bloody will it be, I guess is the question. Will it be war, or will it be a peaceful, you know, evolution into a different way of government? And this is why I think what you're doing, and other organizations as well, you know, educating about liberty, educating about real free markets, real capitalism, not Michael Moore capitalism. You know, Michael Moore has a real good criticism of capitalism, but what I think he's criticizing is corporatism, not capitalism.
Yeah, this crony capitalism thing.
That's right, yeah. And that is what we have here in this country, and that's even a worse extent they have it in our puppet states around the world. So this is a valid criticism, and if the young people self-educate and have access to a better understanding of how societies can be organized, how they can be self-organized, how freedom really works, that can help reduce bloodshed. I mean, that can be something that causes the change to happen in a way that is may not be good for the United States empire, but it is very good for the region and the rest of the world that would like to trade.
Heck, the United States empire ain't good for the United States.
No, it's not. I mean, and this is what's so exciting here at home. If you forget about all the stuff we're doing around the world, we're going broke at home. And part of why we're going broke is because we have this empire that is bleeding us, and neocons that keep wanting it to get bigger and bleed us more. And certainly some Americans are enriching themselves. The military-industrial complex is enriching itself. There's no doubt about that. But, the country's being bled. And when an average guy, especially like the Walmart CEO says, in 4 months you're going to see serious, not 4%, 5% a month, but serious, even much more than that, inflation in food prices, we're going to say, wait a minute, can we, are we going to, buy bombs, or are we going to buy butter? Because they're going to be very upset. And this is part of the way that change can happen.
Well,
and we might be able to shrink the empire just out of our own, people
it's going to financially
to
just collapse anyway. That's one thing Dr. Paul is going on. He's going, look, hey, man, it's going to happen regardless, one way or another.
It is. And really,
I tell you, when I grow up, I want to be like Karen, okay? So this is what I did. We moved up in North Phoenix on a little 2-acre thing. It's Freedom's Phoenix Farm.
Oh, yeah.
We have
we
just got 3 goats. We have 20 chickens. We got
excellent.
We're getting ready to put in a cow. We're going to be here a year, at least a year. That I'm going to try and be mobile and ready to go anywhere after a year, but we're going to use this opportunity to learn. We planted a lot. And I got my own little square out there that we're going to be growing cigar tobacco just because I can.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's fantastic.
Freedom's Phoenix cigars. They go, did you add? Don't you have to get permission? I said, I don't know. I'm not asking.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. And really, I think a lot of people, not enough, but a lot of people are waking up to the fundamental. They're asking the fundamental questions. What am I going to do when the financial system in the United States collapses or gets out of control, such that I don't have food and I don't have what I need for my family? And they're thinking about networking. They're thinking about getting prepared, like you're doing, like I'm doing. I'm out here doing much the same thing. And
you're on the farm.
That's right. And I have to tell you, I grew up on a farm, so I had a little bit of a tiny, tiny background from when I was a kid, and I learned something new every day. And it's this whole body of knowledge of kind of traditional things and food work, repairs, all the things. There's a lot of stuff you have to know and need to know, and a lot of networks that you have to develop. And it's important stuff. And the folks that are doing it early are going to save the rest of the people. Obviously we may not want to save them, but we'll have to.
Well, we're working on it, and they'll want to keep being fed regardless of whether you want to feed them or not. But
that's right.
What we've done, there's a thing called libertytrade.net. It's kind of a combination of eBay and Craigslist, but you get to determine what currency that you'll accept for the product or what it costs in various different, like ounces of silver, grams of gold, Federal Reserve notes. So we've already done that. We've done these pre-1965 dimes, quarters, and half dollars to where, onceuponadime.com. And on Freedom's Phoenix, we have walletvoting.com, a special edition that is all about these guys. We started this at our Freedom Summit. We came up with the idea. And all of a sudden, it exploded across the country already. People are starting to trade these laminated cards that kind of promote whatever, but different businesses so on, but they got laminated dimes in them, these old dimes.
Yeah, isn't that something?
And they're like $2.70, $2.80 a piece now. They used to be a dime. You want to know what inflation is? Just look at a dime.
That's exactly right. Fantastic. That's a great thing.
We're working at it. We're working at it. Karen's going to help us. And she's going to be, doing the Congress thing and saying stuff they don't want her to say. We'll talk about what she might say when we come back in just a little bit.